You want to understand things, without getting too bogged down in all the details.
Without all the noise.
Exactly. You want a shortcut,
Yeah.
to being, in the know. And today we're focusing on a film that's already generating some serious buzz, Jurassic World Rebirth. And we're going to be doing it based on what we've been able to glean so far from its Rotten Tomatoes page.
Yeah, think of Rotten Tomatoes as that early peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Like a sneak preview of a movie's DNA, if you will.
Absolutely.
We're going to go through everything from, the genre all the way to who's producing it to give you the essential ingredients.
So let's just start with the basics. The movie's called Jurassic World Rebirth, and it's slated for release on July 2nd, 2025.
Wednesday, July 2nd.
Wednesday, July 2nd. In theaters everywhere.
Wide release.
Wide release?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
in terms of genre, we're looking at action-adventure sci-fi. So, pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah, par for the course for Jurassic World.
Yeah, okay. Now behind the camera, we've got Gareth Edwards directing.
This is interesting because he's known for some pretty visually striking sci-fi like Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
So big spectacle,
Yeah.
But then the screenplay is by David Koepp.
Ah, interesting.
And Jurassic Park fans might recognize that name because he wrote the original.
Oh, wow.
So you've got this really interesting blend of like modern sci-fi epic director and then a writer who's like steeped in that original Jurassic Park DNA.
So what do you think? Is this going to be like a return to maybe some of that suspense that we had in the first one?
Yeah, could be. I mean, it's definitely a question mark, right? Like, are we going to see more of that kind of like character-driven suspense that the original was known for, or are we going to go full, Michael Bay with it?
Full-on spectacle.
It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, so let's dive into this synopsis because this is where things start to take a bit of a turn. It's set 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, Dominion saw dinosaurs kind of, being dispersed around the globe.
Globally, yeah.
But Rebirth throws us a curveball here. The synopsis suggests that the planet's ecology has actually become largely inhospitable to dinosaurs.
So not exactly a planet overrun with dinos.
Yeah, so it's kind of a more localized phenomenon now.
Right. It seems like the remaining dinosaurs have sort of retreated to isolated equatorial environments. So think like consistently warm and humid climates,
Yeah.
Similar to those prehistoric periods they came from.
Makes sense. They'd be seeking out those optimal conditions, right?
Exactly. Follow the heat, follow the humidity. That's where the dinosaurs are going to thrive.
And now within these, these tropical pockets, the story it centers around three specific, most colossal creatures.
Oh, they're not giving us names yet,
No.
which is interesting. Right?
Very. But the emphasis on colossal, that's got to be something big.
Yeah, we're talking massive here.
But here's the real hook. Okay. The thing that really grabbed me is that these enormous dinosaurs, they hold the key to a drug that could have miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind.
Oh, wow. That's a big shift, right?
It is.
Like typically Jurassic movies are all about, the dangers of dinosaurs,
Threat.
yeah, the threat of these creatures.
Well, run and hide.
But now they're being presented as this potential source of like medical breakthroughs.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's thought-provoking for sure.
It really is.
Like, what kind of life-saving benefits are we talking about here? And why are these three colossal creatures, what's so special about their biology that makes them so valuable?
Yeah, it's not just about surviving, an attack or something anymore. It's like now there's this potential reliance, on these creatures for our well-being.
Almost like a symbiotic relationship in a way.
Yeah.
A very uneasy one, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the people who are going to be caught up in all this, the cast.
All right, give me the rundown.
All right, so we got Scarlett Johansson playing Zora Bennett.
Okay, big name.
Mahershala Ali as Duncan Kincaid.
Another powerhouse.
Jonathan Bailey is Dr. Henry Loomis.
Right.
Rupert Friend is Martin Krebs. And Manuel Garcia Rulfo rounds it out as Ruben Delgado.
Wow, that's a stacked cast.
Yeah, and I think with actors like Johansson and Ali, they bring a lot of, weight to a film.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They command attention. And, it makes you wonder, like, how are they going to weave these characters into this whole dinosaur drug situation?
Yeah, and what are their motivations going to be? Are they going to be trying to, protect the dinosaurs and slightly exploit them?
Yeah, are they going to be the good guys, the bad guys, or somewhere in between?
Yep, exactly.
Lots of possibilities there.
All right, so for those of you who like to get a sneak peek, the Rotten Tomatoes page, it lists a trailer a full trailer that's 2 minutes and 24 seconds.
Ooh,
And then there's also a shorter Super Bowl spot that's 1 minute long.
gotta get those Super Bowl viewers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was they also list a 1 minute video called Details You May Have Missed in the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer.
Oh, so they're already teasing us with like hidden clues and Easter eggs and stuff?
I think so, yeah.
I love that.
It's like for the real fans, you know?
Exactly. It's like you got to watch it multiple times. You got to pause it. You got to rewind it. You got to catch all the little details. And it makes you wonder, like, what kind of secrets are they hiding in there? Is it just fun little Easter eggs? Or is it like actual hints about the plot or the characters or, you know, those colossal creatures?
It makes you think.
For sure.
Okay, so for context, you know, Jurassic World Rebirth is a direct sequel to Dominion. So those events, you know, with the dinosaurs living in the human world, that's kind of our starting point.
Okay, so it's building on that established world.
Exactly.
I'm curious to see how they handled the whole, you know, ecological fallout of that, though. You know, because we're told that the planet has become inhospitable to the dinosaurs. So how did that happen? Did humans push back? Did the dinosaurs just not adapt well? Like, what's the story there?
Yeah. What are those long-term consequences that maybe we didn't see in Dominion?
Yeah, lots of questions.
Now, something else that's always interesting to look at is more like this section on Rotten Tomatoes, because it kind of gives you an idea of how the studio is positioning the film, you know?
It's like a little window into their marketing strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Jurassic World Rebirth, it's listed alongside some interesting upcoming movies. There's The Land That Time Forgot, Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargiver Twisters, and Dune Drifter.
Okay, so it's a bit of a mixed bag there.
That is-
But I can definitely see some thematic overlaps, you know? Obviously, The Land That Time Forgot, that's got the whole prehistoric creature angle going on.
Yeah.
And then Twisters, that kind of hints at like large-scale environmental threats, right? Rebel Moon and Dune Drifter, those are more like sci-fi adventures, but they both deal with survival in, you know, pretty harsh environments.
Right.
So it kind of makes you think that Jurassic World Rebirth is probably going for that same kind of vibe, you know?
Big action, big stakes,
Exactly.
survival against the odds.
It may be a little bit of that, you know, awe and wonder that we associate with, you know, giant creatures and vast landscapes.
Absolutely. Okay, so for the Rotten Tomatoes fans out there, the Tomatometer and the popcorn barrier, they're both sitting at 0 right now.
Well, yeah, that's expected, right? It's still a ways out from release.
Exactly. No critical reviews or audience ratings yet, but you can always add it to your watch list on the site and sign up for notifications so you'll be the first to know when those start rolling in.
Got to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. And they also have a photos section if you're, you know, hungry for some early visuals.
Some little teasers to whet the appetite.
Exactly. All right, so let's bring it all together. You know, Jurassic World Rebirth, it takes place 5 years after Dominion in a world where dinosaurs are, you know, for the most part, confined to these specific tropical zones.
Okay.
And the big mystery is centered around these 3 gigantic creatures that hold the key to this life-saving drug for humanity. We got a stellar cast, you know, we've got trailers that are probably full of hidden clues, and, you know, the studio is positioning the film alongside, you know, other movies that have these themes of survival and environmental challenges.
It's interesting, though, because it seems like they're kind of flipping the script on the whole human-dinosaur relationship this time around, you know?
How so?
Well, instead of it just being, you know, humans versus dinosaurs, you know, us against them, it seems like there's this potential for, you know, dependence on the dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
we need them for this life-saving drug, so suddenly it's not so simple anymore.
That's a good point.
It raises all these questions about, you know, exploitation and conservation and, you know, what are the ethical implications of all this?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely adds a new layer of complexity to the story.
It's not just about running and screaming from dinosaurs anymore.
No, which is exciting, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued.
So for our listeners out there, here's something for you to think about. You know, given this premise of this life-saving drug that comes from these colossal creatures, you know, what kind of ecological pressures might this create beyond, you know, just the initial environmental challenges that we've talked about?
That's a great question.
Yeah, you know, will this lead to a new wave of human interference in these isolated ecosystems?
You know, humans trying to exploit these creatures or their habitats.
Exactly. And what would the unintended consequences be, you know?
Yeah, could this actually end up being even more dangerous for the dinosaurs in the long run?
Right. It's a fascinating angle to think about, you know, as we wait for the movie to come out.
Definitely gives us a lot to chew on.
Yeah, I think, this deep dive into, the early info about Jurassic World: The Rebirth, it should give you a pretty good grasp on what to expect. And hopefully it sparked some interesting questions for you to, to ponder as we get closer to the release date.
Absolutely. There's always more to uncover.
Always.